Hi there, and welcome to EarthTableBody, where we create easy, healthy, natural meals that you'll enjoy. Today, I want to talk about tofu, or as I call it, the other white, not meat. Now, tofu is a great meat substitute, and the reason why is that it is made with soybeans, which form a complete protein just like meat. Now, tofu has come under some scrutiny because of poor production techniques and allergens, but if you're not allergic to it, look for organic, non-mass-produced tofu products, and you'll be doing your body and the earth a favor. The process of making tofu is fairly simple. It uses the same steps as cheese making. First, tofu makers soak dried soybeans in water, then they grind them up into a pulp, and then they separate the solids from the liquid. That liquid is then heated and cooked to make soy milk. After that, a coagulant is added to the milk, and that turns the proteins into a solid form. Now, this mixture is solid and liquid, or curd and whey if you prefer. That is then poured into a cheesecloth lined form and pressed to form the tofu into a block. Now, there are several types of tofu, all referring to its texture. You've got silken, firm, or extra firm. The firmness is determined by how much coagulant is added during the production, and the different textures result in different uses. For example, silken tofu is slightly firmer than yogurt and is used in sauces and liquid applications, whereas firm and extra firm are used in situations where you want the tofu to retain its shape, like stir fries, sautés, or roasting in the oven. Now, there are several ways to cook tofu as well. You can sauté it, fry it, or bake it, or you can just cube it up and drop it into flavorful soups. But one thing to consider when working with tofu is that it lacks any real flavor, and it needs to be sauced or marinated to provide interest. And in my opinion, this seems to be the biggest challenge for folks. So today, right here, I want to demonstrate for you how to handle and marinate tofu. Stay tuned as we dive into some tofu preparations that are sure to please. Alright, let's just be honest. The flavor of tofu is not familiar to our Western palates, and frankly has even been compared to cardboard. Now, I have never prepared or tried cardboard, but I am pretty sure that you can substitute tofu for cardboard in any recipe calling for cardboard. But I digress. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to marinate and saute tofu using an Asian marinade, but please check out the blog for other marinade recipes. Now, for today's preparation, you will want a 1-pound block of tofu, soy sauce, sesame oil, rice wine vinegar, ginger, some towels, a mixing bowl, and a 1-quart sized Ziploc bag. Now, to begin, I cut the tofu horizontally, exposing the non-pressed inside, and then I cut those in half again, into a convenient handling size. Now, this is a good time to point out that the inside or cut side of the tofu is much more porous than the outside of the tofu. This is due to the shaping process. Exposing the inside allows the tofu to release more water when we press it. Okay, lay out the towels and put the cut side face down and gently press. You'll need to change out the towels or move the tofu around to let the towels absorb the water. Now, our goal here is not to smush or completely dry out the tofu, only to eliminate the extra water and create room for the marinade to settle. Now it's time for the marinade. Place the tofu and the marinade in the Ziploc bag and close the bag, removing as much air as possible. Next, press down on the tofu. This step allows the marinade to penetrate the tofu like a sponge when you squeeze it out, and then it re-expands, soaking up water. Let this sit for at least an hour, pressing the tofu for a couple of times. This can be done in a bowl or another container, but I have found that this process helps the tofu take the marinade best. Now let's cook it. I heat a saute pan over medium heat, that's about 5 to 6. When it's hot, I add 2 tablespoons of oil and the tofu and leave it alone for 4 to 5 minutes until a nice color has formed. I flip the tofu over and repeat. One word of caution, do not do this over a higher heat because the lower temperature allows the tofu to cook evenly and slowly. When it's done, remove and serve on a salad, over a bowl of pasta, or serve it on a plate of food just like you would fish or chicken. Alright, now you have an idea how to create flavor and cook with tofu. From here, I would encourage you to try different marinades, experiment, but consider using ingredients that satisfy a combination of sweet, salty, bitter, and sour. Now, the tofu we just prepared could also be grilled or baked. Now I'd like to answer another viewer's question, and if you have a question, please send it to show@earthtablebody.com. Jane from Asheville writes, Eric, I love Asian and Japanese cuisine. How can I incorporate or substitute Japanese, Asian ingredients into my preparations? Well, Jane, great question. And for starters, when I want to infuse these elements into my food, I look at the roles of taste, and then I use certain ingredients in those roles. For example, for saltiness, I use soy sauce. For sour, I use rice wine vinegar or limes. I always use ginger, and instead of olive oil, I'll use toasted sesame oil. Thanks for the question, and tune in next time as we dive into this subject further. Well, that concludes another episode. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to find out more about us, check out the website at EarthTableBody.com. Once there, you can sign up for updates, get recipes, and see what we're up to. We are EarthTableBody. Thanks for watching, and eat well. Today I want to talk about tofu, or as I call it, the white not meat, the bland cube treat. Or as I call it, bland meat wannabe. Or as I call it, definitely not American. Or as I call it, cardboard flavored bean curd. Or as I call it, not meat, not food. What the heck is it? Or as I call it, the thing you have to eat before you have dessert. Or as I call it, steak from an albino styrofoam cow. Today I want to talk about tofu, or as I call it, fun, gelatinous, all the protein, none the fatness. Today